Welcome everyone to the LinkedIn Power Lab webinar. Today is Monday, the 7th of December, 2020. This is the last of my webinars for this year, number 15 already. And this time is a very special topic close to my heart, because it's how to balance the main job and the side business or side businesses on LinkedIn. Because we only have one profile, but we might have more than one job or more than one set of activities, and I thought about how can we put this all on social media in a way that it can work well together. And that's what I would like to cover. I hope everyone can hear me well. I will unmute all. Pardon, I will mute all, that's better. That's much better. And if anyone would like to speak, then please unmute yourself in the typical way how that would work. And that way we can continue. So as this series of webinars normally runs, I have first a bit of introduction about myself, and then we get into the topic. So my name is Gunnar, for those who attend this webinar for the first time. I'm a social media consultant. I'm blogging about social selling. I created 2 online courses, and I'm also a published book author. And I just met with my publisher on the weekend. So she came from Melbourne, so that's Samantha Jensen. And we worked together on 2 book projects here in English in Australia. So that's a little bit about myself, and I work in social media at Hootsuite. So whatever you would like to contribute, and I would really like to have this a bit more engaging, please also use the chat room. That's the best way how we can add some kind of lines, and I will have a look there as well. And some of you will do this as well. So let's go into this topic for today. And before we do so, a little bit of an introduction. When I mentioned that I'm a big fan of books, so I publish some as well. So then we have, for example, Sabine here in the call. You might remember, and you might even have 1 or 2 of my books, the tour guides from Lake Constance and Bodensee, combining your German side with my Swiss side, or actually our Swiss side, and so on. So then I always have this hobby of reading books, writing books, and whatever content I look into, I try to find out where are some book authors over there who I can contact. Where are some books that I can read, and where is something that can also become a future book. So therefore I also started a series of book reviews. So there is one trend which here has been called quite often a Gigster economy. And that means we don't just have one job. And in this year 2020, it basically shows that having just one job, which then goes potentially out of the blue, it's not there anymore, then we run into trouble. So, and in particular, there were a couple of studies in Australia where have been asked, and I have links in the slides, about the typical employment-related issues these days. And that was in end of last year. And the typical concerns that people have are the security of jobs, the work-life balance, particularly if you need to work 2 or 3 jobs, and of course, it's not a real balance anymore, and therefore also health. And that was before COVID, so it now changed, of course. Australia recorded by end of last year 1 million people out of 25 that we are, who already have at least a second job, if not a third one. That's quite a lot. And that is only what is known. There might be some who do some stuff which is not well recorded, so that counts into from an economic point of view, but not in the statistics. Before COVID, 7% of all jobs in Australia were secondary jobs. Secondary include the 3rd, 4th, and whatever, those which are not main jobs. That's quite a substantial amount of the economy. So in particular, when we look into the younger generations, and Gen Z, and particularly also millennials, they are by 188% more likely to start and create a side business. And that is a study that came from Salesforce, which as such is of course more the traditional while modern corporate company. So, and then I looked further into some stats also from the US, where it's written that small businesses, 64% of them use social media. So here we come. If we have a main job and we would like to do a side business, then there's a high likelihood that we need social media. Unless our main job is sitting at the cashier desk in the supermarket, and our side business is driving Uber. And we don't need social media in none of those. But I think these days, most of us have for at least one of those sites a need to be present on social media. What actually means small businesses? For the US, it's about smaller than 500. In Australia, it's smaller than 15 employees. It's called a small business. Above is already a larger. And Sabine, I don't recall it in Switzerland too much, but also Switzerland is an economy which very much stands on the KMU, the small and medium-sized companies. So then,
yep.
You wanted to continue?
No, I just said correct.
Exactly. And that includes also those who have a passion and get into a role like consulting on something. And you are a wonderful example for that. So there's plenty of articles that I found about the topic, how to make some extra money. Some people go and take a passion and consult about it, like in your case. Some others that find casual jobs somewhere. And Sabine, you might not know the word casual. I thought it's a dress code when I came to Australia, but it is another way of employment. And there's so many other options. Some are in multi-level marketing, many actually, or other affiliate marketing activities. There's so much. And so much more will be created in the next year. And there's one book about it, which actually also won an award from Sue Elson. She's a LinkedIn consultant. She wrote, in the meantime, 5 books. That was number 4. Number 5 is just out. And that is about particularly this age and the ability how people can find other ways of income streams. Nice book. And she's a great author. Also an interesting point here is that people are looking for ways how they can learn from successful people. And when you look into those which are, let's say, treated as millionaires, very often they have up to 7 income streams, which is a lot, which is quite a lot. So in the meantime, it's getting a bit darker. Let me switch on the light. So how to balance the main job and the side business on LinkedIn? That is a question for today. So there I put it into 3 topics. And those who know my webinars, they know and can have a guess that all my 3 topics all start with the same letter. First of all, we need to position the personal brands, which will be more than just one. We will look into how we can profile the 2 different identities on LinkedIn. How can we align this? Or how can we show the differences? And at the end, how can we perform these double activities? So that was actually me standing at the New South Wales Business Chamber talking from my main business. And funny enough, have been then asked a lot by people for my upcoming side businesses. So it's also the way how to handle both together requires one thing: integrity. So let's look into the positioning part, how we can have 2 ways how they can get together, because it's just one of us. It's not more people that we have. It's not more than 24 hours that we have. It's just one of us. So then we need to position these parts of us properly. So, and question to you in the chat, to all of you, I will ask, is your main income employment or a set of casual or contractor roles or something else than the main employment? Is your main income employment or something else? Just by the curiosity. So then, for example, casual and contractor roles, I mean those which are by themselves, which can be a beautician advisor. It can be some who are working with the multi-level marketing as their main role, maybe more of them, or somebody who's working as a contractor and does different things in the same or different industries. So yeah, Sabine, for you actually is actually both, but your main income indeed is the employment. But it might be even for those who choose employment as their main source of income, that this can be even part of a transition. So that's also my case. Maybe in 10 years, when employment gets less and less favorable, I might be consulting by myself. So then that's interesting. Yeah, or here, that's the interesting one. Thank you for that. Something else, long-term positions in property and shares. But you achieve something, or you're on a journey to achieve something which is great. Why should you work when your money can work? That exactly is the point. So I remember when I've been a student, started to work as a computer programmer. got some money in that, kept being a student, and also I had a car. And I rented that car out to my company. So the car made money and I made money. So that was the way how I treated that. So need to find clever ways in order to make that happen. Yeah, Bell, you're right. You have a mixture of employment, subcontractor roles, and casual employment. So that's good. And of course, not always easy to align that. So let me talk some of these slides, and they might look text heavy, but I could also have nothing there and just talk, but I thought might be a good one that you can also read what I say. So for me, it's three things, these blurring lines. First of all, there's a personal brand. And this personal brand is your personality. The personality might be the same if you're employed or if you do your side business. That includes also your interest. Maybe you cannot use them well everywhere, but they are there. And your lifestyle, your opinions. An opinion is a tricky thing when you are in different areas. And what I would like to exclude here is one thing. I'm not a fan of, for example, when I've been working at HP, Sabine, where you are, and there was one colleague who had a side business to be involved and invested into a company selling computer parts. And I thought, hang on, is that not a kind of a potential conflict of interest? So that for me is a no-go. So I do not want to give any tips how to avoid that. For me, that we cannot have that. So I cannot be in any case related to any competition. That does not work. So that's for me is an obvious thing. So then, but the personal brand is also our circle, the type of people that we have around, who might also know that we have two sides of the coin. So then, at least the personal brand allows us also flexibility, and that's ideally for those which are solopreneurs, those who are seeking scientific research. Then personal brand is important, or speaking careers. So that is what we can describe on LinkedIn very well. You only need to pay attention that it doesn't create any type of conflict. So then when we look further, a small business brand, and some of you might be more that also run their own company. So I think, for Cinzia, that's the case for you here in Bosman. So then that is more a brand that is related to a company, but maybe based on the owner. So my father's company was a case. It was called Hermann Habitz GmbH. Of course, if somebody else would have thought that if I would have taken over this, we would need to at least change the name, and then also about the brand. So therefore, it's a mix of the personality and the company. Like the family-run businesses, small companies have that with the personal brand in it, the personal name, and that also reflects differently on social media side. And I will come with 3 examples on my own history on this one. And then, of course, we have the corporate brand. And a little bit of a story. Sabine, as we have you here in the call, and you work at HP, and you also show in your side business how well you care on a proper way of nutrition and health. So I like that. When I had the chance to apply for a role here at another computer manufacturer whose name also can be found in a food shop, without naming a company that I'm using for my phones and so on, they said, Gunnar, you have a very visible personal brand. And I thought they mean this as positive, but they meant not good. If you're at Apple, it's a company brand. We don't encourage a personal brand. So therefore, I'm not there because I don't agree with that. So then, of course, in a corporate brand, there are centrally driven guidelines. There are things that you need to follow, like social media policies. And particularly when you work on LinkedIn and people are active, those corporations who think the old way often perceive it that somebody who is doing jobs, who is active on LinkedIn is searching for the next job. Particularly in the public sector is very often passive. Government roles, people are normally not so active because also they think, I don't need to have a new job, I'm safe. But LinkedIn is not a job search tool at all. It's just a side effect. And we see more and more corporations who are waking up and realizing that social media is not longer a small part of marketing. Social media has a main seat at the board table. And that is the social transformation that we're in these days and where 2020 helped a lot. So modern companies actually also discover employee advocacy tools so that then brands think about how can they attract people who have a good social media following, because it's perceived as very well. And there are even stats who can undermine all of that one. So it's, for me, it goes from avoiding into an advantage. Let me give you 3 examples. So if I'm just by myself writing books, I can put my name, that's all fine. But when I came to Australia, I went to a distributor of HP back then, called Cloud Recover. It was a smaller business. So I would ask the owner, can we post this? He said, go ahead. But then it has been acquired by a global company in the US called Keep It Safe. No chance to adopt anything. Everything set in stone. Old way of thinking. So that is the thing. What we need to do whenever we are in this situation of having a personal brand by ourselves, but we are employed somewhere, people are watching there. So imagine, Belle, you as your work also in hospital here, if you would post a lot of stuff about health, which is not, let's say, by not following the guidelines of your hospital, but maybe something in regards to COVID with your own research, they might not want to like it. So we need to pay attention about all of these cross-references. So I'll show you my example. I started at Mercedes-Benz. From there, I went to Switzerland to HP, stayed there some 16 years. I went then to Cloud Recover, which became Keep It Safe, then Login, and now at Hootsuite, my dream company, who understand social media. So that is this side, and I associate this with one set of visuals and values, in particular with this picture everywhere. But then I also have my side businesses, meaning I've been working as a tour guide. Not sure if some of you here in the call might remember this. Sabine, you for sure, when we went to Prague or wherever, and with your colleagues back then. I've been a journalist, still am, published book author, 21, number 22 in the works. And I worked as a leadership mentor and also as a social media consultant. And I use this picture for this. I try to get different type of identity, different type of values, which are still so that they can align. And in the meantime, already gave me a logo as well to play with that. Because for this logo that you have as a side business, and many of us have also one, like Bell you have, Sabine you have, and many others, Viola you have, so that is good. And to get a bit of the visuals for that. So how can we get this coexistence on LinkedIn? So we need to consider a lot for that step. First of all, we need to keep professional. If we would like to have the coexistence of the brand, that requires that we avoid topics to talk about that the other side of the house doesn't or shouldn't see. We should also avoid that those who look for us and go to another channel, let's say from LinkedIn to Facebook, need to pay attention that that at least works as well. That should be professional as well. We also would need to be clear about which site should be visible on LinkedIn. So in my case, on LinkedIn, I'm at Hootsuite. Some others who are working, I don't know, one LinkedIn consultant here in Sydney, she's working as in the healthcare sector on a job that doesn't require LinkedIn, so she doesn't do anything about it. But her side business is on LinkedIn. She does only that on LinkedIn. So that's also fine as long as both sides know from each other. There's no need to hide anything. But of course, we need to have in mind also future job change. If my career planning would require something in the direction to go, imagine I would want to go to a company which wouldn't want this type of two sides of the same coin, I need to pay attention because everything is on social media, it remains there. So clear differentiation where needed. And we need to also somewhat describe our personal values and the interests. And LinkedIn has a space, and I'll show you where. So then we have the two sides of the coin, the main income. Main doesn't necessarily mean the largest one, but maybe the more stable one, if any possible. So I know one gentleman who's wanted to join today, who's earning a stable, good enough income that pays the bills, and the side business is sometimes higher, but depends. So then it's not so reliable on it, so therefore he keeps on the main income. And that, of course, need to comply with the social media rules of that company. If that company requires you need to sign something when you post it, and post less, but at least be sure that you align to the rules. And check also how others are visible on LinkedIn. And I realized I've been the only one at Keep It Safe who's posting on LinkedIn. There can be two reasons. Nobody cares about it at all, or maybe I'm a little bit too progressive. So I need to find out how that would work. You can always suggest and improve on the content that you're doing. And you can also combine your personal experience on the stories, in the storytelling format, how you can apply this to this main job. But in a way that you combine with your values, with your own personality, so that then a post that you do, which is related to your main job, can also be understood in the view of your side business. That works quite well for me these days. Because then on your side business or secondary activities, you need to apply this integrity. Don't show anything which opposes to your main job. And many, I know many people here who say, who have good ideas how you can earn an online marketing side income that can come from multi-level marketing, that can come from foreign exchange trading, a great options, by the way. And often this is shown with an image of these people who are rich, the newly rich people who have great cars and sitting at the beach and all of this one, and then they write there, ditch the 9-to-5. We don't do that. Number one, we have a main job, which often has to do with the perception of 9-to-5. And number two, we might want to be employed in the future again. So we should not write this ditch the 9-to-5. So therefore, we need to also always have the transition in mind. And I might be a little bit of too paranoid about this, but I would like to ensure that integrity is important. Whatever I'm posting, I need to ask myself the 3 questions. Does it work with my main job? Does it work with my side business? And can I live with the consequences when I post it and I get negative comments? Do these comments hurt both of these sides? So that I need to always have in mind. Because not to forget, on LinkedIn, whatever we are commenting or posting, we always have below there our picture and our tagline. So getting into the profile. So question to you, do you have one LinkedIn profile or do you have 2 LinkedIn profiles? There I'm curious about. Do you have 1 or 2 LinkedIn profiles? And Peter from Volker, I think in the group, since where I know you, on the Asego business, I think there was an idea to have a second one, but I will comment about that. So many of you, yeah, Janet 1, Viola 1, and Viola, for you it's interesting because I know that you have several side businesses that you can understand in a similar area, but that makes sense. Yeah, one only. Yeah, that's fine. And Bell, for you it's interesting because you do various things, but on LinkedIn you actually can have only one. That's interesting. Yeah, Demi as well, so that's good. So in my view, what we have here, let me show you examples. Same businesses. I have a gentleman here, Duncan Fish, who is an executive coach. He has a profile, which is a personal part. That is his LinkedIn URL, and that's how he positions himself. Typically, when you watch a profile, you do the first test, does this look professional or good or serious? And of course it does. And he has, as you can see there, a company called the Engaging Executive, which includes a logo to people. And it includes only a logo because he has a LinkedIn page. And to be clear on these words, profile and page are 2 different things, technically completely different things. Profile is the personal side, page is the company. If I'm looking for companies, let's say plumbers or electricians, I need a service. I look for the company. I don't care of the person at that moment because I have a need to solve something in my house. If then the best electrician in the world around here in the suburb doesn't have a company page on LinkedIn, I would not be able to find it. So therefore, there are 2 different things, profile and page. Just start with the same letter. You can see even the images are not exactly the same. What you can do on this is on the profile pages, on the profile and then the pages, you can make them look similar or you can do it not. So then another one, the gentleman, Rao, who is also in the call, and Rao is a master in many regards. So first I show you his LinkedIn profile. That is his personal profile. And when you read this, he's an IT solutions provider. He's a startup investor, an entrepreneur, so that's good. You see keywords. He used the real estate behind him, not just as an image, but with a message. Wonderful. Particularly as I know him for 1.5 years, I see this growth, and that's very good. He's posting fantastic topics about this area. You would think about, here's a company who does IT services in a quite modern way, and he shows a lot with videos, so that's good. But the Raokan IT services, you see that it doesn't have a logo there. It's just the new image, which looks like it's nothing there. So then we get you that out. But then on the other side, he also has another profile on Facebook, which is also the personal side of things, where you see him more the entrepreneur, the public speaker, what he can do very well. And there he talks about leadership, because Rao is leading a huge organization in the network marketing industry. That's why I know him. But he's not promoting that business as such. He's promoting his qualities as a leader, how he can guide and engage his people. That's a nice way how these two obviously different things can coexist very well with each other. Well done. Really like that, Rao. So good job on that one over the time. Like that. There's not even written which brands you would be around, but of course, the content that you do, then we would see it, and integrity works very well. So, but one thing, LinkedIn allows us only to have one personal profile, not more. If LinkedIn finds out that we do a second one, maybe we have some kind of cross references, then they might block us. It's written in the terms of contract, terms of service, that we should not do that. So, but how can we overcome that? We can create company pages. So here on the left-hand side, you can see where it's written Raokan IT Services. It is not yet a proper logo like Duncan has that, but he could have 2, 3, 4 different companies that he can have even in his employment history, or even not at all, but they can exist by themselves. So if you have a double identity, like a Jekyll and Hyde, 2 different things, you can put them out as LinkedIn company pages instead of profiles. That works. Kind of same thing here on the Facebook side. You can have a Facebook page as well. And Bell, we created one for your Bell's Treatment Corner as an example, which is different from your personal profile. This means more the service-oriented stuff goes then on the company page in Facebook or LinkedIn, and more the personal side, how you help someone achieving something, goes on the personal side. So, but how to make that happen? So in the headline, where typically would be written, and Sabine, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I met you, there was something written like printing product manager at HP or something like that. So back then. Today you would write completely different, more interesting role. So I like to use the headline for, first of all, what's most important, if it's a job-related one or the side businesses that we need to decide. But then we write there, who do we help to achieve what? Not corporate role at company. So that's much better. And that can be added, because it's long enough in the meantime, by some kind of hint or description of your secondary role. So in Rao's example, he can add there not just entrepreneur or investor, but also leadership consultant, for example. Particularly thinking about keywords. But don't show the title of the second role. So you wouldn't put there then, let's say something in HP printing, and then a kind of food enthusiast or something like this. It looks a little bit of weird in that sense. You need to find a good way how you take the essence for that, the passion for that. So then we have the big one in the past, which was called summary, and today called about. There you can put your own story and the values, why you do what you do. So for example, I have a lot of passion for social media and for software, so there's obvious that Hootsuite is the perfect role for me. So that I would put there. You can put 2 paragraphs about your main role, and then you can add something about your side business. Not that you're an Uber driver or you deliver pizza, but something which shows your passion, and that is good. If a corporate role would, or your corporate HR or boss wouldn't like this, they should learn that people who have a side businesses, they work very often more efficient in their main job. And that's an interesting point as well. But of course, you need to seek agreement from the main job. When I went to HB and I said, hey, this is my book that I wrote, only that, you know, I get some kind of royalties for this, despite small, it's part of the tax system, I need to tell you. And every company since then, I shared that. And in most cases, actually, it's positive that these capabilities that I have are also used for the company, and that is good one. So then below on LinkedIn, we have all this experience section. On that one, we can describe our main job more in detail, of course, with all of the achievements and how you help others to achieve that, not bullet points from your CV anymore. And then also entice the perception that that is your main role. Don't describe your main job as a 9-to-5, a commodity. I go because I need to earn money for my rent, for that, but rather show why you really like to do this, and then add your secondary businesses as a LinkedIn company page that you can connect with this, and then add some kind of lines to this. You can be in 2 or 3 or 4 at the same time. So there's an interesting story in one of the webinars here. I had a lady, she is 80 years old. Her CV has 17 pages, and she asked me to improve her LinkedIn profile with 80 years old because she has been seeking more speaking opportunities and wanted to be clear how to position when 12 jobs were current at the same time in some kind of Rotary in Sydney here, and then some other speaking role at a health organization there, and then another not-for-profit. So be clear how you would like to be perceived. If you have too much stuff, the main job might think they don't have any time anymore for us. So therefore, this coexistence for me is an important one. And when we have done that, then we need to look into how we can perform both together. So therefore, the question to you, how do you communicate on LinkedIn? Do you use LinkedIn to connect with others or to write with others as your main job or as your side gig? So do you use LinkedIn to communicate? Type the question for main job or side business. In my case, we both. Viola, main. Janet, main. Sabine, yes, main, because I think, Sabine, you use Facebook more on the other side, or Instagram, because it's very visual about the lifestyle pictures that you have on that. Yeah, that's good. A lot of mains. A lot of mains. Except Bell, yeah, Bell for you, LinkedIn for you is the side gig, that's true. And therefore you do this well, but I think you do this in a way that your main job would not see it as a negative way. That's good. It's somehow in agreement into what the main job would perceive as okay, and Romana as well main, so that's fine. So next one, the content for the business, main business or side businesses. And for me, the important thing is that we show consistency. I'm a huge fan of consistency. And what I learned in high school, my teacher in physics, he said, I want from all of you to come with consistency, but be careful. Attending never is also consistent. This I don't mean, but I like that. So consistency on LinkedIn, in your full personal brand, also means exactly that. So I'm a huge fan of commenting on the work of others. But of course, whatever I comment is visible in public. So here we have also how particular those which are consultants are very often masters in commenting and showing their brand and gaining business from that. Because I posted something, then Frank wrote about it, I then chatted back and forth, and then Wayne came into the discussion and added something, and it continued. Commenting is like the salt in the soup. And if you would like to compare LinkedIn in particular with some other social media on professional site like Xing, which is more in German-speaking countries, there's not too much focus on content and commenting. So therefore, we can be very happy that we have that. But if you would comment as your main job, it's fine. If you comment as your side business, then of course you would comment on completely different type of people. So have in mind that your boss might have also on the radar, because he or she is following you, that is visible. If you would like to comment in public for your side businesses, and you have a LinkedIn page, a company page, then you can comment as the LinkedIn page. That's a good thing as well. Then you can get rid of this type of potential conflict. That's possible. The next one is you would curate content. You take something which is sitting somewhere and then you show this further. Also here the question, do you use this for your main or your side businesses? In my case, it's actually the same. It works for both sides, but I'm paying attention that it really can work for both sides. I do not want to show a part of the personal brand which would not work for my main businesses, or I better don't do this. In my last company, Noggin, it was all about risk management software. And then I wrote topics more about social media. Then my boss said, that doesn't fit so well. I said, but hang on, I use social media and write about how to do lead generation on social media, and I take risk management as an example. And soon I got basically incoming leads. So I applied my side business's view and mindset and sources onto the main businesses. So I tried to look into this coexistence from a mutual discovery and success point of view. And then, of course, you can create your own material, like here, where I met, by the way, an interesting gentleman. His name is Sydney. He calls himself Sydney from Sydney, and he's also a coach. And that was one example of offline, online, offline, what I like on the LinkedIn side. So that was another example. You can see the difference on those two, the middle and the right-hand side. The middle one is a piece of content from a person somewhere that's basically linking to that. On the right-hand side, it is my own piece, which doesn't link into anything, which stays on LinkedIn, which LinkedIn likes more. In both cases, you see that a typical post has 2.5 lines, and then the 2 words, see more. And the only thing I would like to achieve in posting is that people click on see more, that they can see the whole post. That's an important thing. So I need to write, doesn't matter if curating or creating, I need to write in a way that people want to press on see more. So kind of a good question at the beginning. Nothing blah, blah, blah. Like recently I had a training for AMD, which is a computer processor vendor for the UK team. And then they would say gigahertz, gigabyte, price, promotion, boring. Instead of showing a story, asking questions would work so much better. So there's another way how we can get the whole stuff well together. And that is joining groups. In groups, in LinkedIn groups, you can find prospects and connectors. Prospects are future clients, obviously, and connectors are those people who can help us enhance our network. So if you have seen the post that I sent today in the morning, my typical Social Selling Monday post, I shared particularly the story of one gentleman who I met the first time when I came to Australia. First days here, met him, and he has a huge network of, I don't know, 18,000 people here. And we crossed our paths all the time, and now work in the same, at least in the same building. And he's a great connector without asking what's in it for me. We need to identify those, because those people, doesn't matter if for the main business or the side gig, those people can really help us enhance our connections. Because who do we need? We need the people behind. And where can we find and communicate very well? That are groups. That's valid for Facebook, as many of us know, but also in LinkedIn groups it works to operate under the radar. So here's one example. So I mentioned earlier that I'm also a leadership mentor at the Institute of Managers and Leaders, formerly called Australian Institute of Management. And on that side here for New South Wales, for Sydney, I'm a brand ambassador, which is great. And I'm also a chartered manager. I got that association or that designation 3 years ago. So there's this group. It has 239 members. If I would like to communicate, if I'd like to find out more about other leaders, I can operate, I can send them, I can post in that group and nobody else sees it. So that is one way how a side business like this could operate, then this would be my main source of income, for example. Sorry, my secondary source of income. Another one, and there we have Rao and those who are working in the network marketing industry, they are also suitable groups on LinkedIn, not only on Facebook, but also here. And interesting on these LinkedIn groups, very often they are kind of a symmetry. So then people join that maybe years ago, they don't leave it. Not all of them are active, but it is a set of people. If I would like to find out for my foreign exchange trading, for example, nice techniques, how to go after that one, and I look who is here in this business. And then we can see, and Janet, if you pay attention to the picture, the gentleman on the picture, before the number 13, you know him, that's Mick. So that's fine. That's interesting to find out who of all of us is sitting somewhere, and we can learn and observe from others how they go after prospects. That's an interesting way to use the groups from LinkedIn. So LinkedIn groups are less active than those on Facebook, I know that, but we can utilize it very well. Particularly, we can message to members of a group when we are in the same group without that we are on LinkedIn Premium. Or even if we are on Premium and we have only 15 emails to people we don't know, it doesn't matter. Group always work because LinkedIn would like to get groups more active. So we can also create our own group or develop our side business tribe in this way that we can find out who else has interest in something. So if I would like to go out and say I would like to find people for my foreign exchange side business, then I would like to, number one, find out how others in the similar role that I have describe themselves, position themselves, this type of competitive way that I shared, that we talked about a couple of days ago, that I find basically my competitors, so to say, or market companions. So that works well. And I can find out how other people are reacting on that. That goes very well on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has one huge advantage. People write more about their professional side in the about section in the content, so I can search very well for that. On Facebook, I can place advertising and tell me I need exactly those people with that income range from, I don't know, 100 to 150,000 per year in Sydney 2088, or which are female in age 30 to 45, whatever. I can do that in Facebook, not on LinkedIn. But on LinkedIn, I can search for keywords which are suitable for this one. So therefore, combine that. That works well. So and then some tips, side business activities outside of the main job. We need to connect. So we need to find suitable prospects and connectors by searching for relevant keywords. So that's an important point. We need to find and use these keywords that I just mentioned. If I'm curious about in the financial foreign exchange market, I would find keywords of this one. For example, if I'm into the health and fitness area, then I would also find this. There's only one tricky thing. Our target markets are on LinkedIn, but they might not express their need for our solutions when we help them on health, on food, on fitness. Nobody says on LinkedIn, I would like to lose 5 kilos. That might be written on Facebook. But still you can search for those who have an affinity for certain areas. So we can connect. I'm a big fan of using personalized messages to show respect and also show why then someone who has a tagline of social selling advocate would like to reach out to people and talk to them about book writing. So we need to explain ourselves. We are not so much just this one-side sales rep who doesn't do anything than selling. Build genuine relationships, ask questions. They can be scripted, doesn't matter, but ask them in a genuine way. And then we can qualify in or out quickly. We can keep following or be connected to people. That is not a problem. That's the connection part. The content part, as we just had content on the other slides, so we need to ensure whatever content we put out there, curate or create, doesn't matter, that needs to be aligned with the rules of our company. If I would be employed at Apple, I would rather put out my side business content on Facebook or Instagram. So then we can do this. And I suggest use personal growth stories. So Sabine, when you're at HB, you don't write about the next promotion that is happening. You can write about an event, sure, but more talk about the success stories. Talk about how technology helps in the age of digital and social transformation. It's much better compared to the promo of the printer that, by the way, I bought 7 years ago. That time from you, I remember that. In the meantime, replaced by another HP printer. So comment wisely on the posts on side businesses. You can do that. Pay attention that there's a main business, but use comments. Particularly when you find in that industry, so if I take Rao as an example, Rao, you are in the area of, in your, let's call it the main job of, in the multi-level marketing, helping people on essential services like energy and mobile phone and internet and so on, when that is the main activity sector, and then you add the area of IT and cybersecurity issues, and you do this from a very practical side, how people need to pay attention at home, you can do this. You can wisely comment on other people in that industry that you identified on cybersecurity. They see what you do, and you can get traffic, comments, and you can engage with those people, and you can reflect this back into your network marketing side when we are acting clever with comments. And then third part of this is to convert. Send suitable posts directly to prospects. If I find something that makes sense, I take it, then I bring this further and send it directly. I don't necessarily post everything, but I rather go for this and send directly. We can also use video and voice messages on LinkedIn. That goes very well. I had it in, I think, 2 webinars ago in October. We can even send recorded voice messages or audio messages in particular, with sense of what's interesting in the side businesses. You might have it as a file, put it out there. And combine it with apps like Calendly, for example, where you can get them and say, okay, you're interested in this, here's my link, please put out, put an appointment. And of course, you operate your Calendly online calendar in a way that your main job and the side business are both captured in that. And you can use tools like Hootsuite, which are very good for posting, particularly for scheduling posts across different types of multimedia, social media. So that is a good way how to combine all of this together on this perform category. There was a lot of stuff to talk about. Does it make sense? Is there anything in there that you can learn and apply for that? At least I hope so. So what would you write? Viola, very right about the way to use comments, so that is good. Bell asked me if I can send the written slides as a copy to the participants. Yes, because I've done on purpose that I wrote a lot on the slides that you can then take it, maybe print it, put there and follow this. It's on purpose for this one. So that's that was the idea of this. So that's good. So let's go further, the last remaining 8, 9, 10 minutes. What else is there? In terms of next steps, this is a topic that I never covered so far on my regular webinars, but it makes sense because I want to avoid conflicts of interest. And many of us have a main job and are developing and having more and more side businesses logically. In ideally case, we have one main job and we have one side business for our passion that can be fruitful for the other one. And we might have even another one so that the money can make money and we can spend time for what we can do best, which is work on our passion. So there's various things to do. And how can I help on that one? So when it comes to LinkedIn or in general about side businesses, because I carry this for 25 years, is to provide a discovery call here, scheduling on my Calendly. I can help on the refresh of the LinkedIn profile. I've done for some of you here in the call already. And then also I have a membership program, which includes an online course, which captures some kind of topics that I look after. I'm putting this now together. It's called this membership program LinkedIn Organic LinkedIn Habits. Organic because I believe in the content-driven organic way, because you can show your passion and your why in the best way. And habit is a play with my last name, of course. I strongly believe when we do organic activities, they need to have consistency. We need to make it a habit. And I'm writing about different type of habits now every Sunday on LinkedIn as well. I really like that. And I have a heart for small businesses. So what's included? It's an access level of my organic LinkedIn course, which has more and more content that it's getting, some accountability that I work with those which are in there with the group, and we put out an initial strategy session for that. And then action as well. I also have a coaching course, hopefully that, particularly when my voice is good, unlike in November, that normally works well. Sometimes I have office hours where you can ask questions, and I now start with putting out regular monthly content award. Who created the best post as by certain rules. So then, what else we have here? This online course. What did I put there? Initially, I started a year ago with one social selling online course that some of you, like particularly Bell, you have done that, which is more comprehensive one and very well scripted, given my non-native English, that it works well. In the meantime, I created a new one 2-3 months ago, which talks about the 4 topics: the challenge of being active on LinkedIn, how to connect properly, what's about the content, and then how to convert. So it's 4 times the C that's included in the membership program, this course. And I put more and more tools in it into the cabinet. It's 5 words with a C. And that at the moment to join this, for those who will be very, very fast and get through this within 1 month, so then they're lucky and I'm not. So because then you can do this within a month, but normally clients would stay 2, 3, 4, up to 6 months until they don't just only take the course, but put it into action. Particularly those who take this middle portion, that's written best value, there's also an ongoing one-on-one mentoring. So I talk to them 1 hour every month to ensure that what we are doing, what you are doing, that I can help reflecting on that one. And there's even a 30% discount when you go for the annual subscription. And some said, I would like to be active, but first we need to fix our profile. It's not good enough yet. So that is a profile refresh, which is stored on the right-hand side. So then the only thing is time is limited. So I need to a little bit of pick who I can work with. And therefore this middle section from January will be a little bit higher. So at least that I can spend, that I don't have to reduce the time to say 30 minutes or so, but rather provide more value inside for the time that we have together. I think that's an important topic. And then I would like to say as well, thank you for those who joined my my Facebook group. It's not on LinkedIn, also on purpose on Facebook, Organic LinkedIn Community. And now we just achieved the 500 member mark yesterday with Christine Bell. So that was very good. So that's all what I have prepared for today. I hope that was any valuable. And if there's anything that I can help you on LinkedIn, please let me know. And then I would like to open for questions and answers. I will maybe unmute all, and then let's see if there's anything what I can help you with. Otherwise, please continue writing on the chat. I will read it over time in the evening when I will collect the recording and make it available so that then it goes on my YouTube site and you get an email with that. Any question on this side? Anyone would like to contribute something? I see some who joined later as well, like Amir. Hi, good to see you. Chincha's in there. Omana, ahoy.
Hey Gunnar, Sabina, thank you. Thank you very much. I think it gave a really great overview on how you can play those 2 or 3 or 5. I don't know. Some people may have more side gigs. How you can play that. And I guess now it's all about doing it. So thank you, and thanks for also for the offer that you.
Thank you. Greetings to my friends in HB Switzerland.
I will. Thanks.
Good, cool. Thanks all for joining. Janet, I hope that was worth getting out of bed a bit earlier than normal in the UK. So I hope that was
Thank
good.
you very much. Yes, it was great, Gunnar. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter, thanks as well. Peter, from Molke, I will text you about the question that you sent. I think that might be good.
Thanks,
Cool.
Gunnar. It was great.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. So I will now then stop the recording unless someone has another last comment to make. Thanks also for your lines, Amir. Appreciate a lot. That's very good. And děkuji moc krát, Romano. Jsem rád, že jsi tady. A Olin taky.
Thanks for that, Gunnar. It was good. It was just very detailed. Lots to take in.
It is. Therefore, you will get all the slides, will be on the website, linkedinpowerlab.com, and I will put it out this evening already.
So you wouldn't have any time that chance with that any of some of those points of the categories in an email or something like that?
Yes, everyone who registered for this will receive the email tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Sydney time, which includes a link to the presentation as a PowerPoint, as a PDF basically, and also to the video recording. We'll get that from there.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome, and you can take it in and apply. It's a big topic.
It's a lot to apply. I think you need a part B to this. There's a lot, like part B, because it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I think, thanks, Belle. It's a good approach. What could be done is, in a month from now or so, talk about success stories.
I think more like break it down and have a little bit more and something in it for the next one. Take out a content of what if people have covered some of this, they could take out a piece of that and put it to the next one instead of going from step 1 to step 6, go step 1 to step 3 or step 2 to give people who are not the superstars more time to grasp it, because not everyone's going to be like that.
That's valuable impact, and you know, Belle, that you are normally one of those who always give me a hint what I should cover next time. So I take that as a quite fruitful example. Thank you. Good. So then we are on the hour. We're at 8 o'clock. So thanks everyone, and good for being there. Thank you, and I wish you a nice evening or a nice day wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Gunnar. Thank you, Annabelle, for your suggestion. I agree.
Oh, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.